And today we said we're going to look a little deeper into some poems that she wrote. Yesterday we kind of skimmed through them and we were trying to get an idea of which ones we were going to like. But we started with a question, the essential question: in what ways do we seek to remain ourselves? So if you look in your book on page 232, and definitely at the top of page 233, this is a question that I want you to answer. Do you always feel free to just be you? Or can you be influenced by others? Yes, sir.
You can be influenced by others.
Why do you feel that way?
Because if like a group of people are peer pressuring you to do something, you're going to feel like you're obligated to do it.
How many others have had peer pressure to change their mind or make them do things they wouldn't normally do? Okay, when I was your age, I would be putting both hands up as well. Okay, so when we get this peer pressure, what does that do in terms of us stepping outside of who we are? Say again? Okay, you have this facade. Does it do anything to your, I guess, to your soul or your spirit or your psyche?
I mean, you could be peer pressured to do something bad.
Okay. And even though you know it's bad, which is stronger, the will to do the right thing or the peer pressure?
The peer pressure.
Yes, sir.
Like some cases go against like your morals.
Okay, so when things go against your morals and you know it goes against your morals, why do you do it anyway?
Because of the pressure. Because you want to fit in.
Okay, but what about them fitting in with your stuff? Suppose your stuff is good and say, hey, let's do this. Where's your pressure? Where's your peer? Why can't you make them come to your side? Sir?
It's like, if it's a group of people, they're probably going to side with the people that feels a certain way about something. Like the people with the most side agreed.
Okay.
Like say, me and Kevin agree on something, Brandon don't. Or, I guess, 94 people. Us three agree on something, Brandon don't. And he try to get us to do what he want. We're going to do what we want because most of us want to do the same thing.
So what does that say about majority to you then?
Majority usually wins.
Okay. Should majority win if majority is wrong?
No.
Okay, so help me understand it. You just said because of the majority, you jumping on the majority side. What is it? And that's the question she's asking or they're talking about. What is it going to make that will make you move away from the majority and stand in who you are? When do you have that individuality where I don't care what somebody else is doing, I'm standing in what I believe? When does that happen?
I guess it depends on the topic.
Okay.
When you feel like the thing you choose is right and the thing the people that you're going against is wrong, so you choose to do what you want to do instead of what they want to do?
It's like hard for some people because if you don't want to do what someone does, sometimes that could break people's connections, and sometimes people's connections is like worth a lot to them.
So should a connection be broke because you choose to do one thing and somebody else chooses to do something else?
That really depends on the other person.
It does, okay? So when we look at Emily Dickinson's stuff, we'll see her individuality and how she is this person who's saying what she feels and she's not really concerned with society. She has this individualism. We all have these things we do that are a little different from other people. What do we call those?
Idiosyncrasies.
Say again?
Idiosyncrasies.
Okay, I think that was on week one vocabulary. So we all have these idiosyncrasies. They don't make us insane, but they make us who we are. We all have our little quirks, and that's what we call them, idiosyncrasies. So she was trying to embrace those things in her poetry and let people know, or not even people, because she kept her poems how?
To herself.
To herself. How many writers, undercover writers, you don't show you stuff? How many people write and just don't put the stuff out there? And it's okay. Why do you write?
To express myself.
Okay, why do you write?
To express my imagination.
What are we looking for when we look for the theme? The theme is going to give us a what?
Underlying message.
An underlying message. So by being underlined, it's not all in your face. It's not going to just come out and say, we love flowers, flowers are beautiful. it's not going to just say that. It's going to be underlined. So how would somebody even describe flowers as beautiful without just saying it?
Describe the
How much you enjoy it?
The features. A writer's whole purpose is to do what for us?
Describe it.
Describe.
Imagery.
Give us imagery. Imagery will be that what? We're looking at words. How are we going to get the image?
The description.
The description.
The description. A good writer makes you feel like you can smell the salt in the air from the ocean and you sitting in a classroom. Or that you can actually feel sand between your toes and you're sitting here. They're going to take you there. A good writer will take you there. How many people have gone to the movies and screamed at the screen? How many people been in a movie and said something to a screen that you paid $20 to go see? What had to happen before all that happened? Somebody had to do what? They had to write it, and they had to what? Bring you in. They had to capture you with their word. Give me an example of personification.
A tree talk?
A tree talking. Do trees talk? What's the key word in that word personification that lets us know what's going on? Person. We're treating something that's not a person as if it were a person. We're giving them human qualities. Go over to page 234. We're looking at meter, rhythm, rhyme scheme, repetition. Why do poems have repetition in them? Right, to emphasize and make us feel that things are actually important. When you say all of them, what does that mean? What can an author do? Okay, persuade. What else can an author do? Add a suffix to author. Author has the what? Authority, that I-T-Y. They have the authority to give life, take life. There are 4 poems that she wrote. They're really short poems. What I want you to do is to take some time to read The Soul Selects Her Own Society, and Because I Could Not Stop for Death. These are real small poems, and they have a certain amount of stanzas. What's a stanza? Do poems have paragraphs? Right, they have stanzas, which are what? Which are lines, and they're divided by space, and that's how we know these are stanzas or the collection of words. So I want you to look at The Soul Selects Her Own Society, and Because I Could.
Then, that's the pause me at her low gate, unmoved, an emperor be kneeling upon her mat.
Okay, and somebody followed up with the last stanza.
I've known her from an ample nation. Choose one, then close the valves of her attention like stone.
What exactly does this poem say to the person who's reading it? When we look at things, I wanted to get you into this soapstone today. We start analyzing poems. These are some of the ways we can do it. We look at the speaker. What's the occasion? What's the time and place? Where and when is this taking place? The audience. Who is this written for? Is it written for me? Is it written for you? Is it written for somebody else? What's the purpose? Why did the author write this? And what do they want to happen as a result of writing this? Are they trying to convince us of something? They just want us to know how they feel? What's the purpose? What's the subject? What is the author getting at or saying when she talks about the soul selects her own society? The tone. How does the author feel about this particular subject? Is the author happy about it? Critical about it? What's the tone? Organization. How is this work structured? We know we have stanzas, but what else do we have? The narrative. What's the style? And what evidence do we have for any of these things? Who's speaking? What the occasion is. So with this information in mind, I want you to work with the person who's next to you, and I call it cleaning it up, but it's actually called soapstone. And it's a way that we analyze poetry. It's also a method used to analyze other parts of the stories, prose, or what have you. So when you have a piece of poetry or you have a piece of literature and somebody say analyze it, you're like, how I do that? I always say wash it up. I always say use soapstone and start there. At least you can say, well, the subject of the poem is, instead of, I don't know how I'm gonna start this, I don't know how to analyze this. This is always a good place to start. You don't have to use every individual acronym in there, but it's always a good place to start. So when you're analyzing a piece of literature, you can start with who's speaking. What are they speaking about? Who are they speaking to? So this is soapstone. So use this as you are analyzing this particular poem with your seat partner, shoulder partner, or whoever's in your group, okay? And I'll put a few minutes on the clock, and then I'll check back in with you.
But there's like the emperor, like he's saying.
Just to like,
All right, that's about 13 seconds. Okay. All right, so let's look at this. I heard you all break it down in terms of the soapstone. I heard some interesting conversations in the different groups. So if you were to identify the speaker, can somebody, a group or somebody with hands, tell me? Okay, yes?
This speaker is Emily herself.
Okay. So what's the occasion? What did she speak? Yes, sir.
It's not set in a time or place or when, it's just in general.
Okay. All right. Keeping it moving. Who's the audience? Yes.
The audience is herself as well. She's writing to herself, basically.
Okay. Can the author be the audience? Yes. Okay. And we see that in this particular case. What's the purpose? Why did she write this? Okay. This room is hot. It's hot over there. Yes.
To reassure herself that when she sets her mind to do something, she won't fall into surety.
How many saw that or agree with that? Okay. All right. So let's look at the subject. What is the subject? Yes.
Her inability to be persuaded.
Say it again.
Her inability to be persuaded.
About what she's saying. She feels good about it. How does she organize this work? How does she organize the poem? Yes.
A-B rhymes.
Okay. Do we see A-B? Okay. And last but not least, we're going down to the end. Narrative. What's her style?
Third person.
First person? Third person. All right. Right. She's reinforcing what she had as the title of the poem. Okay, we're going to look at some more Emily Dickinson poems tomorrow. So make sure you have your books where you can get to them. And then we're going to switch gears right now because it's almost time for us to. We're going to be released in a little while, so we're going to wrap this up. Make sure you put your soapstones in your notebooks because we're going to continue to use these as we analyze the other 3 poems that you had. And then at the end, we're going to compare those, and then we're going to become critics. And we're going to decide which of the poems, if they were all up for an award, which one would get it and why. And so we're going to have little evidence and so forth. Have not turned in your due now, which is your paragraph you did in cursive writing today about the holiday that's approaching. I need to have those. You know what we do on Wednesday? We write in cursive, at least 1 paragraph. If you have not given those to me, I will take them now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else haven't turned those in yet? Okay. And now it's time for our silent reading. We end our day with silent reading and or chess. All right.